All right. There is a public perception that universities are fit for generating degrees only. I know it sounds harsh, but that may be a public perception. Yeah.
But nobody would be surprised, I mean, now with this statement. Yeah. Because it's a very widespread today for...
Yeah, I mean, I've heard, and you probably have heard the same statement that, universities are purely degree generators. It doesn't, it sounds very harsh, I would say. So let me put it this way to you. If they are, I don't think the public accepts this role of universities anymore. I think this is a reaction. The public reacts to a role that universities may exhibit and play, from time to time. And from what I understand, International Birch University is categorically against that. And from what I understand, you too disagree with that.
Of course.
What's your take on that? How do you see this?
Well, I think that was the perception that existed until recently, and now when until the companies realized that it cannot be so, that in a sense. Once I said to one of the let's say friend from the business sector, she said she was recently employed, let's say, and in a human resource department, and said I realized that I have learned, and that's the perception of a public, that you learn so many things that you won't use later on, and that the diploma is just a paper that you need to enter somewhere into the company or whatever.
Yeah, that seems to be a common preconception.
To get an employed.
To get a job.
And what you know that it's not relevant, you will learn there at the spot. But from the aspect of companies, they are not satisfied with that. They want prepared human capital, let's put it that way, or they want the prepared people to start. Okay, there is a let's say orientation program in every company, but not to learn new employees on the basics of everything, just to get to acquainted with the specific things in the company, how they work, what is their organizational culture, and what their job will be, and so on, but not to learn them basics and main things that they need to bring from the university. So they have to have certain competencies, and only having a paper is not enough.
So employers do expect,
of course,
a high level of knowledge, of competency,
of course,
that they come with to their companies.
Yes, and they for some years they could tolerate that they need to invest a lot of time and a lot of money to let's say create a good employee, but now they don't have that luxury.
Why is that? What has changed in the market in the meantime? Has anything changed
because
that they changed their attitude?
Not only their attitude, but also that now we as university, especially private university, but also public universities, are now in a competitive market. It wasn't so before. Now there are so many of us that it is very visible which universities are producing skilled and competent people, and which, let's say, not so.
So it has become visible to employers.
Of course, it has been, and I can proudly say that we are recognized as somebody very much trying to prepare young people for the labor market, and when somebody recognizes that, when companies recognizes that, then they reach to you. So now we have the situation and models where the companies are promoting themselves here, because from the universities they are recruiting the future employees, because they know that with majority, I'm not saying all, I mean we have also different students with different let's say preparedness and different willingness, let's say, to learn and to work, but they recognize that they can get, companies recognize that they can get valuable employees tomorrow. Let's say, I'm giving our university as an example. So they are reaching to us, and we are really creating good cooperation models. They are organizing different guest lectures, trainings, where they screen the students, and it's not something that we are only doing, but it shouldn't stop on that. One of the more modern ideas is to also our academics have insights into the companies, so that we, let's say, work together on some trainings, work together on some projects with companies to get to know the company. So for us also to have the let's say insight into the companies as well, not only as consultants. That also is one of the models where academic, where experts from university are working as consultants, but it's also not an ability of all of them. So we need also insight of academic, especially young academics, so assistants that came from the study, bachelor and master studies. They immediately got the job at the university. So there are some critics, like, how can somebody who didn't have a day of work outside of the university, in practical setting, in a company, in an institution somewhere outside, how he can, especially for business studies, how he can teach business if he didn't have any kind of inflow into the business world. If he started working as an assistant, and then a senior assistant, then assistant professor, all the time at the university without the real touch with the business reality. And we see that also. So that is why we want to connect university more and academicians, not the university only as an institution, but also all the academicians with somehow more with practical things and real world, let's say, real business world or industry. So there are some models that still do not exist here, like industrial doctorates.
What's that?
For example, industrial PhDs exist in EU, where you are enrolled in PhD, which is conducted both with mentorship and both in that kind of environment, either in some joint facilities or in companies and universities, on the problem that exist in the real, let's say, real world. Real world, like universities are not real world. I'm just saying in professional sense. So on the field, and those industrial doctorates, they are called. So you have the mentorship of somebody from the university, of professors, but you also have a very intensive and very connected mentorship and from the company, from the concrete company that is in the program.
Is this being implemented in the EU countries? Or?
Yes. For example, from we have insights from our partners on these different Erasmus Plus funded programs and different other EU funded programs. We have very good cooperation with universities from Germany, from Spain, from France, from other countries where those models exist and show great results, because the output is also a certain innovation or a certain problem that is solved in organizational sense. I mean, I'm always referring to some things that are related to the economics and management.
Certainly.
They are working. They don't have so much focus on let's say lectures and courses, but on real research that is joint research of a company and university. So we talk about let's say researchers that are on their PhD studies with a certain experience, and if they are led by the company and have insight into the real issues, problems, and way of work, then they really can achieve great results. And for example, that we are missing. On one side, we are missing it because we don't have very, let's say, those big high-tech companies in such a number, and also because those programs, they require the support of the government that funds those programs, because also the resources are high. Because those interns, let's say PhD candidates, they are funded. That research is like an employment. So during those 3-4 years, they are fully funded. Not only them, but also the institution, the other involved, let's say professors, mentors, and so on. So those are expensive programs. So maybe because of it, we are still not implementing them, but for surely we will in the future, because that's one of the existing models that shows great results.
Sounds very interesting. So these programs are designed for researchers to solve industry-specific problems or issues.
Yes.
And to produce high quality outputs.
Yes.
Something like, let's say, an innovation. Yeah. Now, it's a well-established fact of economic development that for companies to grow, innovation is needed. Yeah. Where does innovation come from? From what I understand, these researchers are meant to generate innovation. That's one of the ways, one of the models, as you suggested. And there are many other models, cooperation models. But let's talk generally now. Where do innovations come from?
I would say that the character of that also changed if we compare it with let's say decades ago. and we have to be aware of it, that now many ideas and innovations come also from young people. Previously, let's say decades ago, it was from highly experienced scientists, let's say older people. Now, let's say everything is changing. Also now, because of the technology and how familiar we are with the technology, young people, they adopt it very easily, and also they are more comfortable with it. And the greatest innovations are now in technological sense. For example, IT, different innovations in IT, and if you are not going along with the progress, then you lose yourself and you lose your competence. And that also happens with the academicians. So professors and so on, they have to be very much involved in that progress and to follow up, to modernize, to be, let's say, trendy with that as well, so that they could be the ones who are generating innovation. So now I think that it's not the case with everyone. When we say we are run by the time, run over the, can we translate it in English like that? I know in Bosnian how to say it. So we have to go along with that very fast changes. And sometimes it's not. So we need young people. So again, we need those ideas that are generating and experience that can maybe really transform it into something concrete. So that now I relate to what I said, that also synergy between professors and students or young researchers is also one of the good ways or models of how to generate innovations. Yeah.
Let me just go back to that young-old dichotomy. Let me reflect on that. There are some people who would say, and who do say, that CEOs of top international companies, Apple and others, that are the cradle of innovation, so to speak, are old 50-plus people, and generally speaking, senior management is like that, 40-plus, 50-plus, and so on. What does that tell us? What does that say about, where innovations come from? Would you say that, when I discuss, let's say, senior management, I'm referring to individuals who are very skilled in what they do, their business intentions, who have years of experience. They've seen lots of, they've approved or disapproved, innovations that have been suggested in their companies, and they decided which innovations will be implemented. So can we say that, a lot of senior management is still doing a great job?
Of course, yes. For
Because,
example, they are the ones recognizing maybe some good ideas and potential but I'm also very confident that a lot of it comes from the also younger generations. But of course that the CEOs are the ones who, or more experienced people, are the ones who can recognize it and push it, or let's say invest in it and support it, and together then it can because on one side there are young people with really much potential there to generate something innovative, but they are lacking some possibilities, lacking the resources, lacking the let's say how to do so, lacking experience, what to expect, what kind of obstacles, which way to go, how, even in how to cooperate, how to create a team, how to keep the team, let's say in some startups and so on. And then they need that kind of experience. They need that kind of support. They need the finances. So of course that there is a role. I mean, the CEOs wouldn't be there if they are not valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'd like to do another podcast with you and discuss innovations. What innovations are, what innovations are not. For example, young people or some people may think that having an idea represents innovation. It doesn't. Having an idea, a cool, creative idea.
We can all have different ideas.
And we do, all the time. It is not an innovation,
Somebody has to verify that. Yeah.
Exactly. And what constitutes the verification criteria? What do we think is valuable? How do companies go about processing that? How do they formulate this criteria? What's valuable to them? That's what I'd like to discuss.
I mean, that's another topic, but how it relates to our topic is that, we cannot do alone. Young people cannot do alone. Companies cannot say that they do not need any kind of input or any kind of, at least, let's say, some recommendations, some verification of this is good, this is not so. We need that. Also vice versa. So that's why, because we work for the same thing, in a sense, for the economy, for growth, for keeping our children here, mainly, also for a quality of life of us, our family, but also people around us, our communities, local communities, and so on. So that's why we need to recognize that we are not individual parties which reach to each other only in need, but in order to satisfy those needs, we need to systematically cooperate. We need to. I will give some small examples that are, for example, very realistic for any academician, faculty, department, faculty, or university, and that is that not to break the links that we have with our students and our graduates, for example. So alumni networks, very much important for us, because they are the future, let's say, participants at the labor market. They are the future CEOs. They are the ones who can be more connected to us than somebody else. They are a good source of information, of feedback. Okay, the situation both ways. What is the situation at the universities, in the education system of specific institutions. What is on the market. Let us see how to balance those. Then different cooperation, either with alumni or with other representatives from different sectors. Let's organize different conferences, symposiums, panels, but let us plan together. Let us do not only invite and see what are the opinions. Let us create them together, plan them together, and guarantee that the outputs, the results of any kind of roundtables do not stay only on the paper. So, because our interests are very much compatible. We go in the same direction. Then there are the cooperation shouldn't be individual on individual level. Shouldn't be shouldn't rely on the capacity and, let's say, communication skills of an individual. If I'm an introvert, if I'm I'm not so, let's say, how to say, comfortable of reaching, contacting, networking, and so on, then in this society I'm doomed to work alone and to be not to be visible, nor myself nor my research, and so on. So we have to go towards more effective ways of cooperation, communication, connecting, and so on. So with this, I will go also and refer to our project, that success project that we are realizing, where now we are in very intensive communication with companies to, for example, overcome that problem. We created a platform, a regional cooperation platform for the academicians individually representing their institutions, for the companies, again individuals, but also representing their institutions, and other individuals seeking for any kind of cooperation opportunities, either on projects, either on joint research, either internships, part-time, full-time jobs, freelance, any kind of possibilities where either of these three groups want to cooperate and to work together. So that what kind of benefits that cooperation platform offers is that it's 24/7 available to anyone. So outside of working hours, outside of physical, let's say, constant some kind of physical contact, with the database of all of those people, registering and posting what they need, what they seek, what kind of joint work with other either companies or universities or students or and so on. So and it is available for everyone like that.
Where do they go to access that?
Yes, they go to calces with 2s.net.
Is that with a K or with a C?
With a K. Yeah,
Calces.
with a K. Calces.net. So it's a platform developed inside of this project, or inside of two projects, Calcea and Success, two capacity building projects in the Erasmus Plus program, where International Burch University is coordinator on one, on Success, and partner on the other. So after 1 year of research and 1 year of creating the platform, researching on those cooperation models, creating the platform, now we are in the third year of implementation among more than 20 international partners, which include universities, companies, business associations, and so on, to, let's say, try to work on some of these cooperation models, to improve them, to connect more and more efficiently to connect. We will see whether it will function. We really hope having those two big consortiums that will promote it among the business sector, among the academia, and among young people. We really hope that it will work to improve some of these models that we mentioned. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Nataša. This has been highly informative.
Thank you.
I am still looking forward to doing that podcast with you on innovations. It's very interesting. Our listeners are interested in that. Viewers have, asked for that. I'm interested in that. So I look forward to having you on our next podcast, and, we'll keep discussing that. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. The IBU Podcast Studio is located at the Department of Digital Communications and Public Relations. Thank you.